Okay, we've been looking at Isaiah chapter. Welcome all. Welcome to those. Just a second. You can't see these in front of me, but they're in my way. Just moving. Cutter. As we know, we've been working our way to the book of Isaiah, and some has been quite heavy. Some short bursts. Like last week, we were looking at just 6 verses. This week, we're going to be looking at two whole chapters. I'm trying to snapshot them into a small sermon. Well, relatively small. I don't know what the tech is like. If you put open up the world menu, which is on your right thumbstick, push forward, push back. It should open up a world menu. There you see the Bible on the left hand side, and then you'll be able to put the book of Isaiah, chapter 13. So it may not work on some quests. It isn't working for me. But you could look at the Bible there. It was on slides, but the slides aren't working. So we have some issues we need to be resolving. But we will be reading, if anybody is able to read Isaiah chapter 13, that'd be fantastic. In any way, even if it's nose reading. Back to old school.
If you want to volunteer, go ahead. Use that same in-world menu. Click on the Q&A at the top left and just place yourself in the queue by clicking the Ask a Question button once. If you press it a second time, it'll remove you from the queue. Okay. I see Kilakina has volunteered to read. So we'll get you on broadcast and you can read chapter 13. How many verses of 13 did you want for this first chapter?
Just all of it.
All of 13?
All of 13.
Sounds good. Let me find Kilakina on this list.
There
you go. Your broadcast.
All right. Isaiah 13. The oracle concerning Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos saw. On a bare hill, raise a signal, cry aloud to them, wave the hand for them to enter the gates of the nobles. I myself have commanded my consecrated ones, and have summoned my mighty men to execute my anger, my proudly exulting ones. The sound of a tumult is on the mountains as of a great multitude. The sound of an uproar of kingdoms, of nations gathering together. The Lord of hosts is mustering a host for battle. They come from a distant land, from the end of the heavens, the Lord and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Wail, for the day of the Lord is near, as destruction from the Almighty it will come. Therefore all hands will be feeble, and every human heart will melt. They will be dismayed. Pangs and agony will seize them. They will be in anguish like a woman in labor. They will look aghast at one another. Their faces will be aflame. Behold, the day of the Lord comes, cruel with wrath and fierce anger, to make the land a desolation and to destroy its sinners from it. For the stars of the heavens and their constellations will not give their light. The sun will be dark at its rising, and the moon will not shed its light. I will punish the world for its evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. I will put an end to the pomp of the arrogant, and lay low the pompous pride of the ruthless. I will make people more rare than fine gold, and mankind than the gold of Ophir. Therefore I will make the heavens tremble, and the earth will be shaken out of its place, at the wrath of the Lord of hosts in the day of his fierce anger. And like a hunted gazelle, or like sheep with none to gather them, each will turn to his own people, and each will flee to his own land. Whoever is found will be thrust through, and whoever is caught will fall by the sword. Their infants will be dashed in pieces before their eyes. Their houses will be plundered and their wives ravished. Behold, I am stirring up the Medes against them, who have no regard for silver and do not delight in gold. Their bows will slaughter the young men. They will have no mercy on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes will not pity children. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the splendor and pomp of the Chaldeans, will be like Sodom and Gomorrah when God overthrew them. It will never be inhabited or lived in for all generations. No Arab will pitch his tent there. No shepherds will make their flocks lie down there. But wild animals will lie down there, and their houses will be full of howling creatures. There ostriches will dwell, and there wild goats will dance. Hyenas will cry in its towers, and jackals in the pleasant palaces. Its time is close at hand, and its days will not be prolonged.
Thank you, Kilakina.
Thank you, Kilakina. Yeah. Somebody pick up first chapter 14?
I do not see anyone else in the queue just yet. Let me give it a few moments, and then if nobody joins,
all right. I can
Huh?
do it.
Oh.
Let me just pull up the menu here.
Nathan? Okay.
Yeah.
Q&A. There we go.
I hear Nathan.
Okay. Let me find you. Gotcha. You are on broadcast. Go ahead.
So starting on what verse again?
14
13 or
verse
14?
1. 14 verse 1.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Skip one over. For the Lord will have compassion on Jacob, and will again choose Israel, and will set them in their own land, and sojourners will join them, and will attach themselves to the house of Jacob. And the peoples will take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel will possess them, and the Lord's land is male and female slaves. And they will take captive those who were their captors, and rule over those who oppress them. When the Lord has given you rest from your pain and turmoil and the hard service with which you were made to serve, you will take up this taunt against the king of Babylon. How the oppressor has ceased, and the insolent fury ceased. The Lord has broken the staff of the wicked, the scepter of the rulers, that struck the peoples in wrath with unceasing blows, that ruled the nations in anger with unrelenting persecution. The whole earth is at rest and quiet. They break forth into singing. The cypresses rejoice at you, the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since you were laid low, no woodcutter comes up against us. Sheol beneath is stirred up to meet you when you come. It rouses the shades to greet you, all who are leaders of the earth. It raises from the thrones all who were kings of the nations. All of them will answer and say to you, you too have become as weak as we. You have become like us. Your pomp is brought down to Sheol. The sound of your harps, maggots are laid as a bed beneath you, and worms are your covers. How far am I going? The whole chapter?
The whole chapter.
Okay. How you are fallen from heaven, O Daystar, son of dawn. How you are cut down to the ground, you who are laid the nations low. You said in your heart, I will ascend to heaven above the stars of God. I will set my throne on high. I will sit on the mount of assembly in the far reaches of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. But you are brought down to Sheol, to the far reaches of the pit. Those who see you will stare at you and ponder over you. Is this the man who made the earth tremble, who shook kingdoms, who made the world like a desert and overthrew its cities, who did not let the prisoners go home? All the kings of the nations lie in glory, each in his own tomb, but you are cast out away from your grave like a loathed branch, clothed with the slain, who is pierced by the sword, who go down into the stones of the pit like a dead body trampled underfoot. You will not be joined with them in burial, because you have destroyed your land. You have slain your people. May the offspring of evildoers nevermore be named. Prepare slaughter for his sons, because the guilt of their fathers, lest they rise and possess the earth, and fill the face of the world with cities. I will rise up against them, declares the Lord of hosts, and will cut off from Babylon name and remnant, descendants and posterity, declares the Lord. And I will make it a possession of the hedgehog and pools of water, and will sweep it with the broom of destruction, declares the Lord of hosts. The Lord of hosts has sworn, as I have planned, so shall it be. As I purposed, so shall it stand. And I will break the Assyrian in my land, and on my mountains trample him underfoot. And his yoke shall depart from them, and his burden from their shoulder. This is the purpose that is purpose concerning the whole earth. And this is the hand that is stretched out over all the nations. For the Lord of hosts is purposed, and who will annul it? His hand is stretched out, and who will turn it back? In the year that King Ahaz died came this oracle. Rejoice not, O Philistia, all of you, that the rod has struck you, that the rod that struck you is broken. For from this serpent's root will come forth an adder, and its fruit will be a flying, fiery serpent. And the firstborn of the poor will graze, and the needy lie down in safety. But I will kill your root with famine, and your remnant it will slay. Wail, O gate, cry out, O city. Melt in fear, O Philistia, all of you. For smoke comes out of the earth, and there is no straggler in his ranks. What will one answer the messengers of the nation? The Lord has founded Zion, and in her the afflicted of his people find refuge.
Lord bless the reading of his word. Thank you both. That was a marathon reading. But it'll be worth it.
Thank you.
Thank you both. That was excellent. Go back to the top. So imagine a grand statue of the center of the city. We've all seen them. We saw them, and there's one pulled down recently in the Middle East. But it was towering above his people, made of bronze and stone, and casting the image of a ruler, or a bunny rabbit, or a symbol of symbol of national greatness. It's meant to inspire or to remind passers-by of power, progress, and permanence. People walk past it, come with reverence, others in resignation. And though they rarely say it out loud, the message it preaches is clear. We built this, we reign here, this will last. But statues lie. They're not eternal. History tells the truth. Every empire's monuments eventually crack. Weather wears them down, revelations pull them over, pride carves them, but time humbles them. What seemed immovable crumbles. Babylon, the central focus of Isaiah 13 to 14, is such a statue. It's exactly the statue. In Isaiah's days, Babylon hadn't reached its height of its glory, but God already saw the final sculpture. The one men would worship. And the moment he would shatter it, Babylon becomes a stand-in for every human kingdom that exists itself against the living God. It is the image of pride, the towering monument of self-rule, self-glory, and self-efficiency. You guys are about to, as we reminded today, to commemorate 4th of July. And that was signifying the end of the British Empire, or part of the ending of the British Empire, which thought it was at the time ruled over most of the planet, but now it is next to nothing, and it was shattered. It was the biggest at the time, the biggest empire ever, but now it's gone. It's a shadow of its own self. I know, I live there. And all empires go the same way. So Isaiah's vision just isn't for cities and distant kings. Babylon still exists, wherever human hearts refuse God and build their own altars of ambition. This text speaks across centuries to us, whether we lead ministries, families, or just carry secret longings. What are we building? A statue of self or of sanctuary of trust? We've been journeying through Isaiah, and it's not been easy to get. And we've been seeing the glory of God's promises: a child born, a righteous branch, kingdom of peace, the salvation like fresh water in the desert. But now the spotlight shifts again. We're invited to witness the fall of the proud, and we're reminded that God's justice is not an interruption into his mercy. It's part of it. As we walk through Isaiah 13 and 14, we'll see one unified image, a statue. We'll see it rise, crack, fall, finally give way to something better, a kingdom that cannot be shaken. I should pass the passage. There you go. Just a sec. Yeah. I changed the order on the fly, which I shouldn't have. So point one, God's sovereignty over nations. Looking at Isaiah 13, 1-5. Isaiah 13 opens not with a commentary, but with a burden, a prophetic vision that feels weighty before a single word is even spoken. And who is this burden aimed at? Babylon. The irony is staggering. Babylon in Isaiah's day wasn't a world empire. At this point, it's a regional power under Assyrian oversight. Yet here, God speaks as if Babylon is already towering and already toppling. This is a divine foresight, but more than that, it's divine authorship. God is not just a passive observer in history. We always have to remember that. He's its architect. He sees the final statue before the chiseling even begins. He knows where the cracks will run because his sovereignty designs the fall. Verses 2-5 describe the mustering of armies, foreign powers summoned by divine decree. Gathering in the hills, the Lord raises a signal, and they come. Verse 3 is just shocking. I myself have commanded my consecrated ones. These aren't God's followers. These are pagan warriors. Yet God calls them. Why? Because even those that do not know him are tools in his hand. Like an artist using rough instruments to carve out beautifully, God uses empires, generals, and kings to bring about his redemptive plans. That's actually a comforting doctrine, but also a humbling one. We are not autonomous as we may think. Neither are the powers we fear. Think again about the statue. Babylon is still being constructed. The scaffolding is up. The shape is forming. People are beginning to marvel. And yet, Isaiah is already chiseling its epitaph. Before the people can grasp in its grandeur, God declares its demise. Charles Spurgeon said it best this way: there is no attribute more comforting to his children than that of God's sovereignty. Under the most adverse circumstances, they believe that sovereignty has ordained their afflictions, and that sovereignty will sanctify them all. It is more than global strategy. It's personal assurance. If God commands the rise and fall of empires, he surely governs the movements of our lives. Your ministry role, your influence, your times of obscurity, they're all part of his carving. We should be trusting him even when it feels like we're being chipped away at. And we've all been there. I have certainly. I've been chipped away a lot. And it hurts. Point 2. The day of the Lord is terror for the wicked. Looking at Isaiah 13, 16 to 22. In these verses, the tone turns. Verse 6, wail for you, the day of the Lord is near. It says, the day of the Lord is a loaded phrase in Scripture. It's not just a historical event, it's a theological reality. The day when God confronts rebellion, vindicates his name, and judges evil. What follows is, because you see the formatting, if you open your Bible, it follows a poetic yet devastating vision. Stars stop shining, the heavens shake, humans' hearts melt with fear. In verse 11 drives the theme home. I will punish the world for its evil and the wicked for their iniquity. Isaiah isn't just mourning Babylon, he's holding up a mirror for every generation. Pride invites judgment, and Babylon is the prototype of that pride. Think about that statue again. Visualize that statue again. It stands tall. It gleams, but now tremors run through it. In its pedestal is cracking. The earth shifts. A crack forms across its chest, and the once revered symbol becomes a cautionary tale. As Jonathan Edwards says, almost every natural man that hears of hell flatters himself that he shall escape it. But these things are nothing. Babylon is the cultural zenith of its age, the top, the head honcho. It's flattered itself. But God's justice cannot be charmed by architecture or artistry. The higher the pride, the harder the fall. And yet we must remember that this is not cruel, it's holy. The God who judges Babylon is the same God who hears the cries of the oppressed, who defends the fatherless, who will not let the innocent suffer forever. The fall of Babylon is a comfort to the broken. What statues are in our lives? What statues are in my heart? Is it my reputation? My ability to control outcomes? My knowledge? My independence? I know I'm preaching to myself. Must let God break my statue before let's let God break the statue and crush it. Judgment will either humble us or undo us. Better to be chiseled by grace now than be shattered by his wrath later. Point 3, which I can't show on the slides. The Lord breaks the oppressor and lifts the broken. Just when it seems that the wrath is all there is, Isaiah opens a window of grace. In chapter 14 begins, the Lord will have compassion on Jacob and will again choose Israel. The statue is fallen, the dust still hangs in the air, but in the rubble something rises. Not another monument to man, but a people, a remnant. And we've heard lots of remnant in Isaiah. God's people restored, chosen again, not because of merit, but because of mercy. Verses 3 to 31, Isaiah composes a toned song, a kind of poetic obituary for the king of Babylon. A mighty ruler who once made nations tremble is now ridiculed by the earth itself. Verse 9 says, Sheol beneath is stirred up to meet him. Even the dead kings laugh at his downfall. How will you fall, O heaven, O day star, son of the dawn? It says in verse 12, you said in your heart, I will ascend to heaven, I will rise my throne above the stars of God. But you are brought down to Sheol. This king imagined himself godlike, immortal, invisible. And many theologians see him to be a picture of the Satan. But like the great statue toppled from its pedestal, he lies in the dust, broken and unmourned. If you have read King James Bible, the word, the language has layers. While aimed at Babylon's king, the pride described here reflects the spirit of Satan himself. A cosmos echo of self-exaltation, and the pattern is clear. Those who climb highest in their own strength fall hardest beneath God's justice. Bonhoeffer, who I quote every week, from his prison cell under Hitler regime, wrote, the proud throne of man is shaken when he learns that God does not intend to exalt him, but to humble him, and then to lift him up on his own terms. And that's the gospel shape we see here. God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble. The way up is down. The path to exaltation runs through humiliation. There are times when we see proud people fall, or powerful movements collapse, and we feel shocked. But Isaiah would have us remember, this is how God works. He humbles Babylon, he lifts Jacob. He casts down the oppressor, but restores the remnant. That means there's hope. That means there's hope for the lowly, for you and for me. No matter how broken we feel, or we feel life is hitting at us, how forgotten my name sounds, or if you are Christ, God has chosen you again. Point 4, the Lord's hand cannot be turned back. Isaiah 14:24-32. In his final section of the chapter, Isaiah expands on the canvas further. Babylon is not the only statue. Assyria will fall. Philistia will be consumed. Every empire that exalts itself will eventually meet its same fate. Verse 4 is the heartbeat of the section. The Lord of hosts has sworn. As I have planned, so shall it be. And as I have purposed, so shall it stand. This is a divine certainty, God's immutable purpose, unchangeable purpose. God's hand is stretched out, and in verse 27 says, who will turn it back? Think again of this sculpture. He stands before the clay with a finished vision in his mind. No critics' voice can make him abandon it. No resistance in the clay can halt his hand. He does what he pleases, and what he pleases is always right. And that includes justice, that includes mercy, that includes the grand arc of history moving towards redemption. Augustine said it this way: trust in the past of God's mercy, the present of God's love, and the future of God's providence. Whether we feel surrounded by opposition or facing new chapters in our own life, remember this: God's purpose is not fragile. They're not dependent on man's approval or stability. You are not at the mercy of chaos. You are held in a hand that cannot be turned back. From fallen statues to risen kings, we watch this statue rise in pride, tremble under judgment, and fall into ruin. We've seen the shattered remains of Babylon's glory, scattered like broken stone. But this is not just about ancient history, it's about us. It is definitely about us. Because if we're honest, we all have our statues, carefully carved identities, reputations, follows, influences. We defend. Things we defend, platforms we cling to, thrones we attempt to build in our own image. Babylon lives wherever pride takes root in the human heart, and Isaiah wants us to see God will not leave these idols standing. But here's the beauty. The gospel is not just a story of fallen statues. It's a story of a rising king. There was another one descended, not in judgment, but in mercy. He did not climb the ladder of human pride. He descended the staircase of divine humility. Jesus Christ, the true King, left the throne of heaven and entered our dust. He came not as a statue to be worshipped, but a servant to be pierced. He didn't say, I will ascend, like the kings of Babylon. He said, I will descend. He stooped low, became obedient to death, even death of the cross. And because of that, Philippians 2 tells us that God has highly exalted him. He was brought down and mighty from the thrones and exalted those of humble estate, as it says in Luke 1. At the cross, every idol is unmasked, every false king dethroned. The statue of our pride is toppled, and in its place stands a rugged cross. Not a beautiful not beautiful in the world's eyes, not polished like bronze, but an eternal, immovable, redemptive. Corrie ten Boom once said, "Never be afraid to," I've quoted this last week, "never be afraid to trust an unknown future to a known God. The future belongs not to Babylon, but to Zion, not to the proud, but to the poor in spirit, not to the statue, but to the shepherd. So let the statues fall. Let the pride give way to praise. Let self-made kingdoms crumble, and let Christ's kingdom rise in our hearts. Because the only glory that lasts is the glory that begins at the cross and ends at the throne." Shall we pray? Lord in heaven and earth, you tear down the proud and lift up the humble. We confess the statues we built, of images I built, of control I've tried to make, of selfish ambition, and I lay them down. We ask you to topple every idol in us and in me, and we ask you to lift me, not on a pedestal of pride, but into the grace of Christ. Help us be a people who are not known for our stature, but for our surrender. For yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. Amen.
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 Yeah, just one song, and then we have a Q&A, but there's other stuff. So there will be an announcement as well. So I'm picking songs off the standard list because we start custom ones at the moment. Why were you muted, Kilakina? Because see you singing. Okay. Around 6 years ago, this ministry was started by Pastor Jason and Cornerstone Yuba City. However, this is a new chapter. Moving forward, Yuba has made the decision to put their efforts elsewhere, which is they're entitled to do. There's no problem with us. We are not in argument with them. There's no discipline issues or anything. Absolutely none. But they both, their leadership, their eldership, and their missions board have decided to put their efforts into other ministry. I found this out a few weeks ago. My first thought was, what do I do now? My second was, let's find a new home. Firmly convinced that we needed to be anchored in a physical church for that accountability. So we found a new home for this ministry. So we will be plowing forward under a new governor. That will be Epic Fellowship in Dallas, pastored by Pastor Maguire, who comes here anyway. Pastor Mac. Can you amplify him, please?
Yes, one moment.
So it's a twofold ministry, if you like, in that governance, in some respects. Pastor Mac and the Epic Fellowship will be responsible for driving the ministry forward. And as an extra layer of accountability, my local pastor, Pastor Matt, which sounds like Matt with T's, will be ensuring that I stay doctrinally faithful. What was obvious when I was talking to Pastor Jason, being the corrupt person that I am naturally, I saw flaws. I could tell Pastor Jason I was doing anything. He didn't know day to day how I was living. So I felt that it was important to bring in my local pastor to have that accountability and that accountability. So if I move in with a woman or a man, whatever, I rob a bank, it's not depending on me to tell the ministry that I've done it. It's my pastor will report it. And given that gives me security, and it gives the ministry security, and also Pastor Maguire has been in VR for a long time. He's been with us since the All Space days. As we all knew, just Epic Mac, who could sing, and he leads worship really well, and just everything really well, really, and he looks really good as well. It's really depressing. But we've known him a long time. It's not somebody we just found from randomly. He's been part of the fellowship. He's been part of the not so much over here, but he's been part of the All Space and the VR and the Horizon Worlds Fellowship since that inception as well. So I'm pleased to introduce Pastor Marlo Maguire. If you can come forward. He doesn't really look like this, and he's squatting a bit. You need to put in stand mode.
Oh, I just need to be in stand mode.
Yeah.
I'm still squatting. There we
go. Yeah. And he's not that pale.
Hello, everyone. Great to connect with y'all, and I'm excited to be a part of supporting this ministry just in a different way. And so, again, as he said, I know a lot of the people already, been in VR for a while, and just looking forward to just the future. And I feel like it is a bright future that God continues to bless this gathering. And that's my prayer. And so,
yeah, me too. I'm excited. Yeah, and he said I went from what do I do now to totally excited. Yeah, we got stuff to do. So, so all good stuff. So, any questions at all? Now is the time, or any other time. Amy, this is a shock. He's been thinking.
I follow. I'm stalking you, Epic Mac. Is Epic Fellowship? Are we going to meet in the same space here? Like, are you just going to change Cornerstone over to Epic Fellowship? Is it the same space, same times, etc.?
At the moment, yeah, we haven't discussed the details, so we won't do it anyway because this world is seriously broken. So we need to fix it. So whether that means building a new one, so if there's any expertise out there in Unity, then we'll take it. Build a new world for us. That's happy with that. Whether what we call ourselves, whether it's because Cornerstone's a good brand. It's a known brand in the multiverse. So we don't want to lose that. But it's Cornerstone of Epic Fellowship or something of that ilk. But we haven't settled. We haven't settled on that yet.
And I'm not really stalking you. Just I was playing.
Yeah, you are.
You just saw me at Horizon Worlds and now see me here. Now
And I brought my friend.
There's a little consistency.
I brought my guardian angel with me.
Ah, wow. She's got muscle with her too.
Yeah, that's scary. Any more questions?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, Sergeant Nathan.
So is there any denominational change with this?
Sorry, Nathan, I didn't have you on broadcast yet. Please
No worries. Is there any denominational change with this change?
Strictly speaking, Epic Fellowship is a part of Baptists. However, it's not emphasized. If you job to find it on the website. So it's an independent Baptist in that respect, as is my local church. And that's totally coincidence. That's coincidence rather than anything else. I didn't arrange it that way at all.
But our biggest push is Scripture, the Bible.
Yeah. So we're Bible based, and the big push is get them saved in here, plant people in local churches, as it has been for the last year or so. We want them packed in a Bible believing church where there are, whether that's a Baptist or something else, and another evangelical branch, then that's fine as long as we're planted in a Bible believing church where they live. And that's the eventual aim, as I've announced every week since I started. That's the aim, is to plant people in local churches, and then invite them back to be part of this ministry. You good?
Yeah, thank you.
I was about to say, did he get frozen?
What was that?
Oh, it looked like he was frozen at first. I didn't know if he was frozen.
Okay.
But maybe he was just thinking. That was a thoughtful
I'm
pose.
just in desktop mode.
Oh, okay.
So unless I jiggle my mouse.
Okay, I got you.
Any more questions? Anything that as we plan things through, we'll make things available quite quickly. Now it just took a time to settle down, and we didn't want people panicking. So, no, chicken little tight style. So we're leaving Cornerstone, and we move into Epic Fellowship. Hopefully, we'll get everybody in a few weeks' time, including Pastor Jason, to do some sort of transfer service or something. So it isn't what's the word? Animosity type thing or anything else like that. It's just people changing direction, which happens as the Spirit leads. And it's a new chapter for us. It's exciting. Scary, pretty exciting. Oh, there's a shock. Yeah.
Hold on.
I love you too, Paul. Is there a Discord we can all go to?
We're
Pastor
keeping
Matt?
the Discord. We're keeping our Discord.
The
Same.
Cornerstone Discord? Okay.
It's gonna, yeah. We're keeping the Discord.
Well, I left it because nothing happens.
Nothing much happened because it's been slow for the last few months. Yes,
Mm.
you fell. We want to get teaching back on it and things like that, and we've just been under-resourced. So, with Pastor Mac's help and my Pastor Matt's help, we can get other resources in to do stuff, because otherwise it's Paul does this, 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 and there's only so much of Paul.
I think that we should run a poll to see if Paul should do it.
There's lots of other stuff done by other people as well. Like, but it is, yeah, it was falling that way, people. All good. But, and I'm more pleased at the fact we've got an anchor to say that we got real accountability to a real person. And I think that sets us apart from other churches in the metaverse, who just, anybody can come in to the metaverse. Stick a pastor badge on and spin up a world and have a congregation. I'm more comfortable with having anchored in a real church. But 2 churches. I mean, I was shot at from both directions. Anything else? I know it's a bit of a shock, a bit of a change. Yeah, Karakina.
So,
One moment. There you go.
thanks. So Pastor Japo and Pastor Goose expressed not wanting to be involved at all. Like they don't want to come preach at any point again.
Pastor Goose, he'll come in as a guest speaker anytime if I push hard enough and he finds the time. Not so much Pastor Jason, because he's committed to his church. He hasn't said anything different. But
Okay.
but that doesn't mean everybody from Uber said the same thing. I've had one person from Uber who speaks here quite often, willing to come back in the future.
Okay. Thank you.
So it's not there's no animosity at all. But
Trying not to cry right now.
I know that's what the guy felt. It's just me and Jason. He said, yeah, bye. So how it hasn't happened yet. The plan is we'll start the transition a couple of weeks into July. It looks like now, because of holidays and things, and then we're aiming to relaunch as a brand January, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So a big push then, and a big event for the beginning of January to start off. But it's a transition period in between then. Business as usual.
But one thing I think we continue to say at Cornerstone, keep looking for Cornerstone if you're.
Yeah.
Keep looking for Cornerstone.
Yeah, so it'll still be Cornerstone. Because Uber can't own the terms. There's a Cornerstone Church on the corner from me. Nothing to do with Uber City at all. But it just happens to be called Cornerstone.
Well, it's a great picture that Jesus is still the cornerstone of his church.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah. Exactly.
No matter what changes.
So it's epicfellowship.org, Pastor Mac's church. Unfortunately, my church is too new to our website and too old in terms of membership, because they've just started in the last year. It's Bethania Aberfan, but you can't. There is a slide with it on, but we can't see it. So I will post it all in the chat, though. I'll post a slide in the chat that fills in any gaps you might have. Anything else? Oh, gone quiet.
Paul, what else do you want me to say?
I don't know. didn't understand that then.
Adobe.
It's a joke. No.
Okay.
Just Adobe product keys. If you can start
Oh,
saying those, I'll type those into my computer and.
Okay. So we look at we're looking to somebody to repair this world and rebuild it because Gus just doesn't have the time. I spoke to him. He messaged me yesterday. He just doesn't have the capacity to do anything. So
You could ask
We-
Alice.
could ask Alice. I don't mind. And I believe Pastor Mac has contacts as well with the Unity stuff. So, but there's also who was it? Who was it? Ghost Dream Team, the Australian guy. That was.
Australian. I don't know who's from where actually, but I know some of the core we have.
Yeah.
Is it Dan or something?
No, it's not that.
No, Dan's from the United States.
No. Anyway, back to the thing. Any questions about the transfer or again? There's no animosity. There's nothing at all. We're going with their blessing and their prayers. And they said there's I got friends there. I plan to visit there again sometime. And I'm just looking for new friends in Texas.